Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second session of today, Saturday, the 14th, in the context of our brain-based EFL teaching conference. So I know everybody is expectant to Jessica Urra with her topic gamification. And right before we start with her, I would like to mention very shortly about the workshops that Buco Education will offer in January, okay? So the 3 workshops that Buco Education has offered for the last couple of years. Pronunciation workshop, if you don't have the proper pronunciation or you want to learn how to teach pronunciation to students, how to teach phonics, etc., we will have the pronunciation workshop. Methodologies for teaching English to young learners, how to include music, how to include storytelling, how to include movement, etc. And of course, educational storytelling, how to tell stories, how to include stories for teaching, okay, in an educational context. Having this said, there's my camera on. I would like to introduce Jessica Urra. Jessica Urra Gutierrez is a teacher of English. She graduated from the Universidad de Concepción in Chile, and she has created an original extracurricular program of English language teaching for young learners. She has specialized in teaching young learners from pre-K, that is 4 years of age, up to 4th grade in primary schools. She's the co-founder and academic director at SOS English Institute in Concepción, Chile. That's in the south of Chile, for the people who are not Chileans. And she has created a number of resources in UDL model for the inclusive classroom, okay, understanding by design, and classroom strategies for teaching preschoolers. So it is an honor for ACHNAP and for Buco Education to have Jessica Urra with us today. Welcome, Jessica. May you have a wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And good morning, everybody. I'm going to share now my presentation. Let me check. Yes, everything is all right now. So welcome today to this second session. There it is. Okay, so welcome to the second session. And today, as Maria Francisca said, we are going to talk about gamification. And this is my topic today, from playing to gamification. So this is mostly about gamification and game-based learning techniques. So let's start from the beginning here. I think that you like to play. Do you like to play? I love playing. Yes, every single day of my life, I play games. Even in this year, 2020, I started to play more, even in my house. For example, I don't like doing the chores or house activities, so I created a game with my husband to do the chores. So we need this part of playing in our lives. And this session, these topics are not going to be topics. We are going to cover 3 levels today, 3 levels: the blue one, the green one, and the pink one. Let's start from the first one, blue level. This is mostly about play, laugh, and learn. And in this topic, we are going to talk about to play, the game-based learning and gamification concepts. So first, to play. What is this concept about? Well, as you can read here with me, preschoolers are very active. We know that. If you have the experience working with pre-kindergartens and kindergartens, or even if you are nursery teachers, bilingual nursery teachers, you know for sure that in the classroom, they are very active. And this year, it has been a real challenge to cover the play section in front of a camera, right? So that energy makes the school and the school system a mean of fluent knowledge towards learning a new language, in this case, English language, through physical or non-physical activities. So they, our students, the little ones, create their own way of learning inside a certain playful environment, right? And they are active in their learning process, developing immediate and concrete tasks. That's our purpose in this case, through play. So according to Vygotsky said, for all children, one of the best ways to learn and develop activities are through play. Okay, sorry, there's a typo over there, are through play. So what means to play? Interesting question. So in early childhood or early education, the concept of playing means the whole context. It's not only for having fun. Yes, in this case, this term means that a whole context, there is a whole context for learning in which children could organize and realize about their social world and encourage themselves to participate actively with other people, their peers, and also with objects, to manipulate objects like toys, and in different settings, time and space all over. And one of the most important ways children have for getting social awareness is through play, especially playing with others. This here has a real repercussion in which playing with others, okay, affected the development of our children. So that's why it's very important to continue playing with our students and our children if you have the chance to have a child in your house or children. So from that point, I have this question. How does play transform our students? I have 6 real true facts that prove that we can transform our students' environment through play. For example, through play, we could help the physical and motor development. That's right. Outdoor or even now indoor activities or vigorous play activities lead to better metabolism and physical development, right? And they also develop gross motor skills, fine motor skills, and psychomotor skills as well. Then we have this. Play helps to the emotional development. This is so important because children could express emotions through the activity, through the playful activity in this way, or through a game, through a toy. The idea is that emotions like delight, happiness, or even anger, fear, frustration, distress, when they play alone or with others. And as a number 3 here, play helps with social development. As I mentioned before, when children play with other children, they develop a wide range of social skills, such as sharing, cooperation, collaboration, negotiation. That's very important, seeing things from others' perspective, and ability to regulate behavior. And okay, that's the ideal part of playing with other children. But in case that they can't play with other children, they have us. They have you as a parent, as a teacher, as an aunt or uncle. So let's focus on continue playing. Other 3 advantages, if you will, okay, play helps with the cognitive development. And that's right. Play provides the environment in which children try out novel ideas, the sense of novelty, which leads to development of new mental structures and better cognitive skills, as the cognitive skills, for example, Joaquin and Maria Francisca mentioned yesterday, and also help through the development of moral in this case. Play helps them acquire the moral structure that a member of society should have. And look, the importance of this, through the elements of a game, for example, they could differentiate what is good or right and what is bad or wrong. So can you imagine the importance of that activity? Wow. And finally here, play helps language development. And that's the point that you are here too. So what is the connection of this activity, play, and English acquisition? Or in this case, the development of a foreign language, especially here in our country. When children play, they talk, they communicate, or they try to communicate, whether if you're working with children from age 3, 4, 5, or even less, from the, for example, from the first year, if you play with them, no, 0 year, just when they are a couple of months, you start stimulating through play. And our children, they are reacting to this. And they are learning the language intended, the one that you want to teach your students or your children, for example, in your house, at home. So let's consider this. Apart from those advantages, let's consider, for example, what children need the most. And here in this picture, you can see, okay, I love this one, taken from internet in here. For example, they need, through play, they need love and respect and to have fun. That is the principal aspect of play, of course, to be seen, to be heard, to be listened to. And of course, they need your presence, our presence, and many more that you can read here. Dreams, all of these, okay, are going to allow creativity. All of these are going to empower the advantages that we already covered in the previous slides. And why? I have a reason here, because you can discover more about a child in 1 hour of play than in a year of standardized tests. And sad but true, yes, is the idea, okay, that through play, we can discover more about them, about how they are learning, actually, and it's fun, let's face it. So as we continue here in this blue level, I want you to imagine a mixer, okay, the one that you have, okay, or a blender, and the one that you have at home. In that machine, in that device, let's put the school environment elements that we have handy. For example, classroom environment design, the learner, for example, the teaching and learning resources, and teacher's lesson design, your lesson plan. All together, you mix them, and through the play experience that we created, considering those 3 school aspects, we could reach 3 important aspects of using play or using game-based learning or gamification elements in our classes. One is cognitive development. 2, the second one is physical development. And the final and most important is social and emotional development, right? And as well, we were talking about play, the verb, the action, we also can discover 3 very important concepts in our session today, which is the game. Number 1, game is all about entertainment. So I want you, in no more than 1 minute, could you please text in the chat, what is your favorite game, or what was the most excited game that you ever played? You, as a person, as an individual, not as a teacher, you. For example, I remember my first Guess Who. Could you please write on the chat box? Okay, el elástico. Okay, Maria Fernanda. All right, elástico. What about the others? El tejo. Wow, that is a very typical Chilean typical game, right? Lute. Right. Lute in English could be the hopscotch. Yes,
Yeah.
something like that. Yes, thank you very much. Hide and seek. I love that one. Quemadas. Okay, that is with the hands, probably. Or with the ball. Okay, you were like,
With the ball.
yeah, with the ball. Okay, so you play with two teams outdoors and you just burned with the ball your students. Oh, sorry, not just students, your friends. Clue. Okay, now Valentina is mentioning a board game, Clue, and Monopoly as well, Quemaditas. Oh, Twister, I love that one. But to be honest, this year I'm not that flexible, but I loved it. I totally loved it. Carioca, okay, that is a card game. Ludo, that is a very nice one. Well, most of these, we could find them through apps now in our smartphones or iPhones. So we could continue playing that. So probably you are, yes, Los Países, hide and seek, Among Us. Okay, this is a new one. Some people say the imposter, Among Us. Tag, you're it. Excellent. Well, as you can see here, all of you have a different ones. Oh no, love that one. And Snakes and Ladders, that is a classic. Yes. So you are mentioning these because you really enjoy having fun with those games that you are texting, or probably you remember that you had fun. So in this case, the game, and it's very important to know what is actually the game in education. A game is defined as a structured form of play. Why is a structured form? Because it has rules and you have some elements as well to play with, right? And you have like a set sometimes or not, but you have to follow some certain rules and you can change the rules, of course. Games are there simply for entertainment value and are not usually intended to educate the player in any shape or form. Not really necessary, of course. We can use games for educate our children, but it's not really necessary. For example, Uno, I have here my Uno. As you can see, I'm prepared. Uno, this was intended to have fun and the rules are nice, but we don't actually follow the rules. And I've seen some families or group of friends that they have been destroyed with the Uno dynamics. But anyway, it's not really and mostly for education. That is my point. And games are meant to keep the player highly engaged, sometimes through rewards. And I remember what Maria Francisca said in the previous session, that engagement is along with challenge. And our children, our students, they love challenges, competition. And of course, they are going towards a reward. What do I win with this? That's the point. Yes. So yes, Alexandra. Okay, lute in English is hopscotch. Yes, that's right. So that was the game. Now, as a second aspect, we have game-based learning. Probably you have heard about this before. So let me tell you that game-based learning is a little bit different from gamification. In what way? In the way that game-based learning is, it has to be with learning objectives through your curriculum. I guess that all of you, people not only in Chile, but in other countries, as they mentioned yesterday, United States, Australia, okay, and among others, that you are here present, you have to follow a program, an educational program. And in that educational program, you have the curriculum with all the learning objectives and expected outcomes, right? So in this case, let me tell you something about game-based learning. This method incorporates different games to meet the learning objectives of the curriculum. For example, now that I know that Uno is a game for having fun, how can I incorporate Uno in my learning objectives of the curriculum? Probably with kindergarten, we are going to cover some contents about counting from 1 to 10. Yes. And I can, or I could use the cards from this card deck in order that they could start playing. But let me tell you that it's not really necessary to follow the same instructions or the same rules of this game. Now you can use the game, and you as teachers and educators, you can create your own rules in order that through the game you put this method and use game-based learning, okay, along with your program, with your educational program. So students learn from playing the game. That is this method. They are not actually learning from the game, but they are learning from the experience, from the learning experience in this case. And educational games, or this Uno, for example, could be commercial. What is that? I actually bought this one for my class. Okay, it's a commercial game because I bought it at the supermarket. Or non-commercial. Probably I downloaded the same cards from internet, and I could print them in order to adequate and adapt them to use it with my kindergarten students. And it could be digital. I could project the cards now in a PowerPoint and some slides and play with them. Or non-digital, okay, could be laminated pieces of papers. Okay, I could laminate the cards and use other elements to that. So the sky is the limit. And I know that we teachers, we have a lot of imagination, especially this year, okay, that we are coping with that, okay. We have some barriers, but instead of having like uh, this moment of, oh, I'm stuck, I'm blocked, we could manage. And that's the point here with the non-commercial games as well. One example that I want to mention is, do you remember Minecraft? Yes or no? Yeah, it was like, oh, trendy topic, Minecraft, for several years. And Minecraft now has a very great web page and platform, and it's called Minecraft Edu, from education, in which Minecraft now was revamped with educational goals. And it's not only for example, covering some English language training or acquisition, but also for other subjects like science, for example, maths, arts, technologies, and it's really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. So I really recommend that probably you can check. You just put on Google Minecraft Edu, because I can't remember now the link, but I could probably share it with you. And yeah, Vanessa, you didn't know it. Yeah, so that was the evolution from a video game now, and they incorporated this resource as a game-based learning method. And finally here, in this level, I have gamification. And let me tell you that it's not the same as game-based learning. Gamification talks about game elements. All right, so gamification is essentially adding game elements into your course curriculum. I know that, okay, we have the game, we have using that game in my class is called game-based learning. All right, yes. And in that moment, I could also use gamification elements, right? So these three are all together. Wow. And this includes incorporated, for example, badges. Why not? Yes, it's like our students, they love receiving this as a reward, even that, or identify their status. Certificates and rewards for effort and successful learning. And in this point, I want to mention this. In game-based learning, they have this learning experience using a game, and imagine that they are playing in groups of 4, but the intention is to learn yes, to play, have fun, but at the end you got one winner. From every group you have, you got one winner. And then all the winners, they are playing together for the finals, okay? But in this case, gamification includes a wide range of gaming elements in which all of us could be the winners. All of us, okay, could have the certificate and rewards, and of course, because of the effort we made. And gamification is often used to motivate students to participate in classroom activities. Gamification is not only to have fun through a game or through an activity like game-based learning. In this case, we could gamify, as you can say, certain activities that are not really playful. For example, the rules of the class, to remind our students to behave in certain ways. We could select certain parts of our classes and gamify them. That's my point in here. And as well as those points, I can say that gamification can be used by educators to create an atmosphere of excitement with competition. Now, we're not going to talk about topics. Let's talk about levels. Let's reach the goal of the week, of the day, of the term, of the year. Yes. And especially with preschool education, that we actually need for assessment some ideas, right? So why don't we gamify our assessment process? So gamification focuses on the principles of how a game works, such as the start, the rules, the winning part, the competition part, etc. We could have more. And also stimulates the participation. Now, if you have the case of teaching in front of a camera with your students, synchronic sessions, okay, this gamification is very, very, very important because leads to increased levels of engagement and self-evaluation as well. Why not? Okay. So when we talk about gamification, I need to mention these elements. It's, of course, mainly for very young learners, but probably if you work with other levels or even with yourself, you can apply these elements of gamification. The main elements are, we need goals and objectives, yes, for the activity selected. We need rules, and there will be a storyline. If we could narrate, and through the narration, we can simulate our students, they're going to be like, oh, paying all the attention. So that is the way we present any kind of activity through these elements are going to be wonderful for them. It's very important also to have the freedom to choose. In one activity, if we want to apply gamification, it's very important to give our students the freedom to choose, freedoms to represent, okay, in different ways, the final product or the final element of the activity that you have intended, as well as the freedom to make mistakes. I remember that yesterday they were talking about this, okay, making mistakes is very important. So why not having this part of making mistakes in a playful environment? That would be great, you know? And also rewards are very important. These could be from sticker, for example, or not really necessary a physical reward. Okay, so you can have other kind of rewards to your students. And in here, I have feedback and this is one of the most important elements of gamification, instant feedback. I know that now in this year, this scenario that we are living in is a little bit complicated or difficult to give feedback to all our students. But if we could have that opportunity to give feedback, and at the same time, then we have this element of retrieval from our students, that could be awesome, okay? That could be awesome in this case. Other elements is a visible status. I know that we have certain softwares or online pages or websites or even applications, apps, in which our students, they could have like a virtual room or a virtual classroom like Class Dojo. Do you know Class Dojo? Probably some of you, or Duolingo as well. They have and they see their status and they want to reach the next one. So there is like a motivation. Yes, Gloria, you use Class Dojo, fantastic. And they can have that visible status that they need, okay? I am here, but I can continue trying, and go there, increasing my status. Well, gamification is all about cooperation and competition as well, and it's great, yes. There will be necessary to set the time. So time restriction is necessary as an element of gamification. The idea to remind them that there is certain time to do some activities through this. There will be a progress. You can see the progress. And the element of surprise, of course. Remember that our students, the little ones, they have the sense of novelty. And even just with a piece of paper, if you have these elements only with a piece of paper, you can create a very, very playful and great activity with them. If with a piece of paper, you can narrate a story and tell them and involve them to do something with that piece of paper, okay, they are going to engage immediately. And of course, all of this is about motivation. If they are following your activities, paying attention, with this, you can gain the attention that you deserve, of course, for your classes. And how important is now getting the attention of our students through a camera, for example, right? Okay, so now we just finished the level 1 or level blue, the blue level, and now we continue with the green level. In this level, I'm going to show you 5 ways to transform playing in learning. Number 1, please, colleagues, choose the right game. Yeah, sometimes we just select some games because you know, or you heard, or you read that it would be good for, I don't know, animals, farm animals, or numbers, and that's it. But what game to choose can be an issue if you or if we don't consider certain things ahead of time. For example, is this game age appropriate? If I am teaching in playgroup, for example, and probably the game is for kindergarteners, and I didn't check that before, probably I would have certain problems, because instead of motivating my students, I would probably frustrate them. And dealing with frustration is it's an issue, yes, in these ages. Another question for this, is it level appropriate? You know your groups, you know the level of English that you have in your room and that you want to reach, right? So that question is with the other one, is it too time consuming? What if you have no more than 30 or 40 minutes with your students, and in only one game or in only one active gamification activity, you have the whole class and nothing happens. Probably they were motivated, they were playing the game, but what about the objective? We have to consider that too. Will it get too rowdy or will it calm them down? Is this game an energizer or is a game that actually is going to be very boring and at the end nobody's paying attention? Is it too simple or too complicated? We need to check first, the rules, or if you want to modify something, so it's part of choosing the right game, of course. And remember that some games work well with certain age groups, levels, and type of group, and others just don't. So don't force it. If you have a game, try to change or incorporate other elements, or try to change the rules, the dynamics, but if not, try to get another game. Okay, don't feel bad about it. Yes, of course. Number 2, and this is another tip or another way to transform your classroom, make sure you understand the game. Yes, of course. So in this case, play the game first by yourself or with a friend of colleague, or if you have children at home, just do it. Play with them first. Very often when we play it first, we realize the rules are not clear or probably are incomplete. And imagine using the game in that moment and the questions start, hey, Miss, I don't understand, Miss, what do you have to do? No, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. Frustration, frustration, frustration. So we have to think on that beforehand. Maybe we thought the game was right, yes, for our kids, but after playing it, the opinion changes. Or probably playing that first with my kids is not going to be the same with the kids I have in my class, right? And in any case, by playing the game by yourself or with your friends, okay, with your colleagues, ahead of time, you will feel, or we will feel better about using it with the kids, with the students. And once they react positively, we are going to be, awesome, we did it, we did it. Now, number 3, what is the purpose of the game? Wow. In this case, it might seem like probably not a silly question, but a very obvious or rhetorical question, but we need to think about the purpose of the game all the time. It is necessary. I don't know, people, if you follow your own program, or if you follow the program from a text or course book, or even if you follow the proposal from the government in Chile, okay, the Ministry of Education, you have to know for sure, okay, what is the purpose of the game? If you don't know that, you might lose sight of what the game is for, and games are useful for lots of stuff. And some teachers just choose to use the games for fun. So this is the difference, okay? We are going to play a game or to apply a very gamify activity or playful activity just for having fun and cover certain gaps in my class, or actually we are going to transform the learning experience with the game-based learning and gamification. Fun is okay, of course, it's always great to have fun, but keep in mind that you can use, or we can use, games to our advantage to practice and learn. And we have to ask ourselves, what do I want my students to learn to do with this game? What's the objective? Of course, that is internal. We don't apply that question to the students, of course, but that's the thing that we have to consider. And in this case, the game has to have a clear goal. After all, isn't that why you are using it? Yeah, because if we spend some time planning that playful activity, incorporating that game into my lesson plan, it has to have a purpose, right? That's the point. Number 4, do you have everything you need? All right, so in this case, let's talk about resources. Game can range from very simple to very complicated and detailed. Yes. So in any case, there are things you are going to need, like a game board, probably, rules, cards, and money, or some little I don't know, plastic things for incorporating in my game. However, most of the games we use in class come from books or websites. I don't know, remember that I told you, I don't know if you're working with some editorials, but sometimes they provide us the elements for games. Exactly. If not, we have to provide all the necessary, and most of the cases, this, especially what we need, comes from our own pocket. Yes or no? Yes, probably. If we adapt the game to suit your specific needs, our specific needs, we have to make sure to include the elements we decide to change. That is clear. And number 5, when? When should we play the game? So when we teach young learners, very young learners, we need to manage their levels of energy. That is crucial. Yes, I remember, for example, in my school, every time that they had physical education first, and then they came back to my classroom, they were like still active. And for me, the first, I don't know, 5 minutes of my class was just trying to applying something for calming them down. Yes, but not in a very kind of boring way. Okay, let's play some music. As Maria Francisca said, songs and music are always a very good element, and we could transform that song and that music with some TPR, yes, some movement, and we can incorporate like a game. Yes, it could be like move and freeze, for example. That is like a brain break game. Yeah, so everybody move and freeze. So they move and they were shaking their bodies. So it was a game, but at the same time, I was applying some other elements. They were moving, but now they have to freeze little by little. So there are games that will calm them down because they require more focus, while others energize them. Sometimes after a disaster strikes, for example, they are very active, they don't want to pay attention, nothing with you, okay, oh my gosh, the teacher is there, but I don't care. uh, Other games, okay, could because sometimes they are falling asleep, okay, in the middle of the game, or sometimes they are out of control, and most of the times we put the blame on the game, right? So a game, as well as any other activity, needs to be considered ahead of time. I'm not saying that it's our fault, but we need to consider all of these points, all of these tips, in order that we avoid that. And in this case, I mentioned 2 scenarios. If it is an energizing game, maybe it will be better at the beginning of the lesson to put the game, right? Where students feel sluggish, probably first time in the morning, like today you, okay, but you were very active today. And you need an energizing game at the beginning of the day. But if the students are already energetic after a physical education class, for example, playing it at the end, the game that you have planned, could be better. Basically, it all depends on your group. And now we have some minutes for the level number 3, or the pink level. Yes, you already unblocked the level 1, the blue one, level 2, green one, and now we have this level number 3, which is the gamification techniques for online, offline examples. First, I I really know for sure that all of you have created a lot of resources and activities and games through these months. Yes or no? Yes. But this now, at this point, November 2020, we are mostly running out of ideas. Yeah, so we are asking for help. I don't know, probably in our social media account, or if you have any teachers group, and also because you are attending to these conferences or webinars, is because we are running out of ideas, and we need some inspiration to finish the year and also to incorporate the next year, because we don't really know what is happening for next year. So in this case, to consider here 7 principles of game-like learning. 1, everyone is a participant. So consider that even us, we are participants as well. We are not just observing the game moment, we play with them. 2, failure is reframed as iteration. The idea is that failure has to be present, and even myself or even my assistant, yes, because I could have an assistant. I could have, for example, my assistant. I'm going to show you. This is one of my assistants. It's very famous. This is Handy. Yeah, Handy, say hello. So Handy can also it can make a mistake during the game. Or I could have other assistant, which is Mr. Frog. So all of us, we are part of this game. Number 3, everything is interconnected. Remember the purpose, remember the goal, remember the objectives. 4, learning happens by doing. Yes, that's the main thing in here. It's not really necessary that I present a game, just give the instructions, and I don't model the game. I need to model the game in order that they can use me as a mirror. And of course, they are going to start practicing that game. Number 5, feedback is immediate and ongoing. So that's very important, okay, of course, in the way that you can. Number 6, challenge is constant in order to motivate them. And 7, learning feels like play, and play is like learning, and vice versa. Yes. So in this part, in this level, the pink level that I present to you, I can suggest some classic games. I could suggest the use of classic games that we already use in our classes. For example, spot the differences, memory games, card games, the odd one out, mind games, puzzles, labyrinths, guess who, the tic-tac-toe, for example. And we can use them online, offline, or even on site in our classroom, the physical one, there at school. These are the classic ones. But if we have the opportunity to create new ones, and especially online or offline, remember that online could be called as well the synchronic period of my class, and offline could be, for example, the ones that you can upload to Google Classroom or any other platform, and they are going to practice at home as a homework with their families or friends. So I'm going to show you some examples for online, offline games. The first one is Zoom Out. Okay, so I want to practice this one with you. Zoom out is to show an object or a flashcard very close to the camera and zoom it out slowly in order they can guess what actually is. So I'm going to do that with you now. Please pay attention now to Jessica. Okay, can you guess what do I have here? It's a toy. It's blue and red and yellow, and it has a mustache. Yes, I think that Claudia is the winner because it's Mario Bros from Super Mario. Yes, you're right. Yes, okay, Claudia, you are the winner. You were the fastest in this competition. So I can show not only an object, yes, I can just present to you something. And there I have a cat, but also flashcards are the protagonists or could be the protagonists to use this game online. Yeah, so Claudia, you're the winner. Zoom out is effective. I already done it, and I call for their attention of course here. Another one is, what do you mime? Kids will figure it out, but the real challenge is to mime certain topics like professions, occupations, activities, daily routines, animals, but without saying a word. So in this case, you have to dare your students to perform in front of the camera. Now it's not only you dare your students in front of a camera or give an enter or exit ticket as well using this game. So you can apply it during the session, or you can apply it at the beginning or at the end as an enter ticket or as an exit ticket. So what do you mime? And I can mime, for example, without saying a word, look at me. What am I? An elephant. That's right. That's right. Well, in the case that you can't move, because you can have use of all the space you have around your bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen. I don't know where where are you working from in this case, but in the case I am connected to a cable now, so I can't move very well. But I managed to use my chair, yes, to do something with my half of my body. Yeah, so that is what do you mime. Another one is card point. And this is mostly for numbers, colors, and body parts. In this case, we need the Uno card deck for this. But only we will need 4 cards. I have my cards here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and from different colors, yes? As you can see here. So we are going to create a pattern. This is my own personal pattern, but you can create your own using only 4 cards and tell them what to do when you show them in front of the camera. Let's see. For example, the yellow or number 1 is head. So I can say, touch your head. Every time you see this card, touch your head. So I can see that probably some of you are touching, yes, your heads, right? Then I have number 2, blue, touch your eyes. So you touch, exactly. Thank you, Marta. Yes, I can see you there. Then number 3 is the green one, touch your nose. And number 4, touch your mouth. So what is the real challenge? Of course, at first you are going to start number 1, number 2, number 3, and they are going to follow in order the instructions. But what about if you say just red? Oh, they have to remember actively. Okay, red was number 4, so I have to touch my mouth. And randomly, not even necessary to use it in order. So in this case, of course, you can apply it in any time of your class, and is getting the attention and is challenging as well. So card point, you can point or touch. It could be card touch or card point. Yes, and you can give them some points as well. Exactly, Claudia. You may also include the pictures of the cards on the slides. That's even better. Yes, I don't have a scanner machine and I didn't have the time, but if you don't have them like this, you can download them or create your own cards and project them during the class. Thank you. That is a very good compliment for this idea. And I love the following one. Name the sound. And this is for listening as well. Have them, your students, to listen to a sound cue. For example, an animal, an object, an activity, and ask them if they can guess what it is. It could be very useful for entering the class or leaving the class. For example, pay attention, my students. What sound is this one? And all of you are going to say a frog, that's right. And what about, well, that was an animal, right? And what about this sound? Yeah, that's the one, okay? So I have here my own bell, okay? This is the one okay, that I use with my husband, but actually it helps with my students as well. Okay, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. And that is name this sound. And you can have other elements for that. Even you can download sounds from internet, or you can get, for example, some apps from Play Store, or if you have an iPhone, I can't remember now the one that you can download, some useful sounds. Okay, so there are some apps that provide you different sounds. And finally here, I have this, strike a pose. And this is for attention as well. In front of the camera, we can put our bodies in a position they can see through the camera, of course, in order they can imitate you. And weekly, we can create a routine and let them create a new pose that all can imitate as well. For example, I imitate this one, I create this one and you follow me. Okay, so I'm going to put all the cameras on here and you're going to follow my pose. Pose number one. Exactly, thank you very much. Pose number two. Yeah, and pose number three. This is exactly what I meant. Okay, thank you very much. It's a good way also to have fun and to apply a little bit of humor. Yes, gamifying, of course, the first entrance to the class. And finally here, what's missing? We have, in this case, handy a little board or a little whiteboard. If you don't have a board, you can create a whiteboard. Yes, you know how? You can use these plastic folders and put just a piece of paper, and there you have a whiteboard, or you can laminate a piece of paper. Okay, I did that. So draw something related to the topics, for example, human body or body parts, and show it to the camera asking, what's missing? And students will guess and use the vocabulary intended. For example, this is my piece of paper that I laminated, and I said, what's missing? Can you tell me what is missing? What parts of the body? Oh my God, the eyes. Yes, that's why I tried to create a friendly drawing. Yes, because oh my God, the eyes. Yes, and now I'm going to put here the eyes, and now it's better. It's better. Or I can continue asking, I just draw the eyes, but what's missing now? Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God, the nose. Yes. So I have here my marker. And all of you, probably you have a whiteboard with me too at home. So all of you can help me and draw the nose of your drawing as well. So I'm going to create the draw again. And there we have. So this is a very good activity as a product. Once you finish, for example, the unit of body parts, you can do that in order to assess the activities. So before we finish, in this presentation, I know that you will have, all of you, you will have this presentation. I I suggest some resources. The first one is this DigiPuzzle. You have thousands, I'm not lying, thousands of different online games, and they are fantastic to use with our students. You have, as well as these, I love this one, Pathway to Success. If you want to get deeper into emotions and also growth mindset and more stuff like that, here you have some suggestions for creating games that you can work with emotions and more. So that is a very, very good one. Oh, I love this one. This is from Learning Resources. And in this exact link, you have all the freebies, free printables like flashcards and board games, and everything you will need for this period and next year. And oh, this is a classic. Okay, if you don't know it, please go for it. Twinkle. I know that there are some printables, like free printables, but as well, you can create your own session and pay a membership, which is not that expensive, but you have a lot of good resources. And finally, this, pick a wheel. If you want to simulate participation, and if they are not participating, you can, of course, apply pick a wheel or the pick a wheel with images in order that they can play like a wheel of fortune. All right. So, oh, yes, we are finishing now. Yes. Okay. Here, of course, you have the references. And that was all. Thank you very much. And Twinkle, yes, Claudia, it's about 30,000 Chilean pesos. But if you have a group of teachers, it's the membership of 1 year. So you can all together create like a collective and pay for it. Okay. So thank you very much. Maria Francisca, now I hear you. We can't listen to you, Maria Francisca. I don't know why.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Oh, yes. Now I can listen to you.
So much for amazing tips and so practical. So thank you. There were some questions from the audience. Okay? So I'm going to ask some questions now. First one, have you ever used Classcraft? And if yes, would you recommend it?
Okay, yeah, Classcraft, yes. I suggested that last week, but I totally recommend it for other ages, for other kind of students. In this case, Classcraft, according to my personal experience, it wasn't very effective for very young learners, right? Because at first, when they have to create an avatar, they were like frustrating before playing the platform. So I preferred something simpler like Class Dojo, for example. Classcraft is a very, very good tool, but I think that is for 7 years up for me, okay, according to my personal experience.
Thank you so much, Jessica. There's another question. In terms of incorporating rewards, is it good to motivate a competition? I work with preschoolers, and sometimes they feel frustrated if they don't get to participate or if they don't win. How can we make competitions without having this feeling?
Oh, very good question. You know, I had the same problem, and I solved the problem in only one move. I have them to compete, but not among them. They started to compete against me. And when all of them, okay, they were like united against the Miss, or in my case, they called me the Tia Miss. They worked in collaboration. There were no frustration, and also they were giving like tips in order to attack the Miss, or not even the Miss, even my assistant. It could be Monkey, it could be my teddy bear, it could be this Mr. Frog. But once, for example, they feel that they belong to a very supportive team against the Miss, in this case, they're going to have fun. You can play humor. You pretend that you are losing, but actually you are applying this error correction as well in that period. So as a suggestion, I suggest that you can provide that space, that all of them compete against you.
Yeah, and just as you said it, another person in the chat, Eileen Mills, she also said you can start a competition, students versus teachers.
Yeah,
so that's
totally.
great because they really feel as a group and they're working together, right? Amazing
Totally.
tip. The third question, is it necessary to let your students know the difference between the base games? I'm sorry, base games. Is it necessary to let your students know, I guess, the rules of the games and when they are different from the games they play for fun? I mean, communicating the class objectives we try to aim with the students.
All right. So in terms of rules or instructions, just go into the simpler way. Students, they need to know what they are going to do for having fun and learn, so they just need the necessary instructions or directions for doing so. It's not really necessary or recommendable to start explaining to them, okay, this is a game for this purpose, because they just want to play. They just want to apply that game. So in that case, I just suggest that you can keep that difference for you as a teacher. You can have them there in your lesson. But in order that our students to be active, just they need the necessary instructions for applying the game, use the game, play the game, and have fun learning. Only that. Make it simpler.
Thank you, Jessica. We have 3 more questions, okay? What do you do when students are always expecting a game during the class? My students are always expecting a Kahoot game, for example, and sometimes we do other types of things or other games.
Yes, I know what to feel. I know what to feel, because when I started some years ago incorporating games to my students, they loved games only. But what about my class? What about the contents, right? So in that case, routines are the basis, okay? They are the basis, the foundations of our classes. If we incorporate a fixed routine, we have the greetings with a song, we have activating the prior knowledge or the prior contents, and then just put a little bit of new contents and a game and a closure, they are going to be used to that routine. So I suggest establish your routine and use it all over, because they are going to be waiting for that. And they will know if one of them says, Miss, but what about the game? Hey, probably the other classmates are going to remind him or her, hey, but first we have the song, and then we have the flashcards or the story, and of course the game is going to be after those activities. So following a routine is recommendable for doing that.
Amazing, amazing. I totally agree. And you know what, Jessica? Maybe if we add the games to consolidate learning at the end, and they will know this, the following lessons, they will be very motivated during the first part of the lesson, since they know that all the information will be useful for the game at the end, right?
Exactly. But actually, Maria Francisca, my routine starts with the greetings with a song, music, and then activating the knowledge, the previous knowledge, then put a little bit of content, and then at the end of my class, as the closure, as a product, I play a game. So I usually put the game in my online class as the exit ticket, right?
Great.
I try to do
Okay.
so.
And there's a question related to this. Can I use any game just to engage students at the beginning of the lesson?
Why not? I told you the sky is the limit. Okay, but it could be any game. All right, yes, but remember the objective. Yes, it could be any game. As I presented to you some ideas, it's just an activation. Yes,
Uh-huh.
but it's intended to the class. For example, what is the intention of that game? Getting the attention of the students? Or is just something with listening because they are going to listen something during the class? So try to create a little bit of connection. That game, that could be any game, but that could have certain relationship of what is next, because they tend to associate. The motivation part was about this, because now in the middle of the class, we are doing this, but bigger. Something about that.
Great. And Jessica, our last question. How do you encourage children to use the English language? Because they usually end up speaking Spanish when we play games.
Yes. I've used many ways, because it's difficult at first, especially when you start in a school that never had English before. And now they are incorporating these workshops. What I do is to, of course, I try to use as much English as possible, but of course I use my Spanglish, the use of a little Spanish with English, but I usually have an assistant or a helper. That could be, for example, Mr. Frog is the protagonist today. And I tell them the story that Mr. Frog is not Chilean, is from, I don't know, the United States, Canada, okay? In this case, could be from Ireland because it's green. So this helper, Mr. Frog, has no idea on how to speak Spanish. So he speaks English. So through this helper, I apply English, and my students, they make an extra effort to learn the necessary and the basics, the necessary vocabulary, in order that they can communicate directly with the helper. In this case, Mr. Frog, not me. At the end, the sad part is that they all want to interact only with Mr. Frog, not with me anymore. But that works. That works.
Amazing. Okay, Jessica, thank you so much for your presentation and the time you took to give detailed answers to all the audience. Thank you so,
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
And
you
to
very
give
much.
closure, thank you. And to give closure to Jessica's presentation, I would like to read a quote. It says, knowing how the brain works best allows educators to create an environment that gives the student a higher probability of success in learning. Okay, everybody, we have again a 15-minute break. We can go get some water, go get some coffee, and we will see each other for our last session about mindfulness. I'm so excited to have Monica with us at 12 o'clock at noon. Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you, everybody, for your participation and your questions, and see you at 12. Bye-bye, everybody.